Mewtwo. I love the cat is. It's amazing. This is my favorite day.
Yeah. Am I still muted? Oh, lovely. My other cat, sorry. My other cat ate my microphone. Yeah. Tom and Inami, you want to talk?
I think we should all apologize to GX, honestly, because I also didn't believe, especially after the 9-3, but I've never seen a 9-3 curse work that well. They just won back to back to back, and Smurfette has just been so insane in this map.
Yeah, I wonder if we can get some of the stuff from that first half, because I believe that we were going to be kicking it into some Nello highlights, and I think one of the things I really enjoyed about that first half in G2, because let's be real, that first half was something that you can sort of talk about as a highlight. They were fantastic at the device setup, more specifically Nello, with being able to delay and basically trap these players in position. It definitely seemed like the side of GX really struggled to piece together any rounds, and any rounds that they did normally involve getting towards that A side of the map where this setup didn't exist. So I think in terms of the defensive competition, they were in a fantastic spot. The issues started to arrive later in the game. Again, we even saw some of these aggressive setups as well, where they had these sort of cool combos that basically made things very difficult for them to get through. Guns being taken away as they entered the site. Like, I was really impressed with what we saw in that first half.
Yeah, and then going to the second half, they didn't have an answer anymore for this Smurfette, because now she's the one aggressing on you. She's the one, like, even if she's on the defense, she has the up, and once she had the up, it felt like the game is over for G2. They weren't able to enter the side, and I feel like we also saw a lot of disconnection when it comes to the players of G2, where we see Amy using her utility in the open without anyone like covering or anything, and we see Sarah able to find those openings so we can get some kills, and overall the whole map has been so insane from them.
Yeah, like just going back to the overall stats, I think we sort of started with saying Smurfette performed incredibly well when it came to map number 1, and then going into the second, it really didn't seem like a change. It's kind of the question of, can she keep this up throughout the entirety of the matchup? And if that's the case, this genuinely could be their match to lose, because I think an in-form Smurfette is something you always have to fear.
Yeah, and I have 2 cats, by the way. Sorry, I just thought we'll just like do as many cats as possible. But I think you're completely right. I feel a full screen. Meow. There you go. But what I will say though, it feels like Smurf is playing in her prime. I mean, she's been playing in our league for so many years at this point, being in a lot of best of 5s as well, being one of like a handful of players that have been able to beat G2 goes in a best of 5 in EMEA, and it's amazing to see her on form. I do wonder though, as we move on to the next one, if she could keep it up on yet another different agent, and whether Inami G2 will finally find, I guess, an answer for Smurfette.
I think that yesterday's game of Icebox of G2 versus KC showed that they can have some weaknesses. So probably there is something there to look for if you are part of the GX roster. And also GX just won an Icebox coming into this, where Smurfette was able to find the space. Sarah also was able to find the space and express herself. We will talk about that later on the agents. But I think that we will for sure at least see a better Icebox coming from GX this time around.
Yeah, I like the fact as well that they're going to get to start over on that defense, because you look back to that sort of decimating defeat, and it was the fact that they never really got to do too much over on their attack side. So potentially getting that better start might help them out at least a little bit with some of that confidence, especially because when you're playing that Neon, I do look at that agent as still one that can be incredibly difficult to find mass value of on this map. I wouldn't mind if she just opted to swap up back to the Jet, but I do think with the overall synergy of the pace that you can run with that agent alongside the Gecko, it fits if it's working. Like if it's working, I think they could potentially steamroll this back in the other direction. But when it goes wrong, it feels like you have a very, very limited setup to what you can run.
I also do feel like we're living in a world where it's not GX that picked the Icebox. Another team dared to pick the Icebox into them. And I think that kind of says a little bit about, you know, what happened last time. But also, I don't necessarily think it might work out as well as G2 could think, because GX historically amazing on this map. Yes, they lost that one time, but Inami coming into this, if they were to win this, I don't even think I would consider it as an upset against G2 on Icebox specifically.
Yeah, both teams have been so phenomenal on Icebox, so if either of them wins, it will be no surprise for us, because we've seen them win. Maybe they were surprised a little bit by G2 being so aggressive on this map. So right now they had VODs to watch. They had also the KC game to watch. So if they win it, it will totally be like a lot of work coming into it. But we've seen them win it before.
Well, let's take a look at Agent Select and see what we are going to get here. Now, Tom would like to see the Neon go. Honestly, me too. But I'm going to come to you here, Inami, because they haven't made any changes.
Yeah, they didn't make any changes. It's again like old versus new kind of thing, because we see again the Tejo coming from Amy. And on the other side, it just Giants X normal comp that we've seen them work so well with, and it works so well. Like Neon has been able, Smurfette has been able to find those openings with every time she slides in and she gets some kills yesterday. Sarah also said that she likes the killjoy, and has been able to find a lot of good lurks and good timings when she was in the mid. So I expect her to do the same again, and hopefully this time it won't be that much of a stomp as last time.
Well, this is, we're guaranteed a map 4 no matter what happens, and this is going to be a very important one for both of these teams. So Hazard and Cairo, have fun with this.
Look, that's what we're here for, having fun, right? I reckon I'll struggle to get a meow out of you, Cairo, but a question I will ask is, do you think that momentum is going to play a factor coming into Icebox for GX?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, GX have like squashed their demons right now, coming in towards this best of 5. Now they need to go one further, win that second map, and really put themselves in a prime spot. We'd spoken about it earlier in terms of best of 5s, and G2 haven't lost one for a while, and the last time that did come at the hands of the Smurfette and the crew, right, on that old roster. So now, looking at Icebox, this is the perfect time and the perfect map to bounce back. We saw that some of those mistakes were corrected yesterday, so looking now coming into it, hey, this is the perfect time to find out G2.
And I think for me, this is the biggest map that we're going to see in the series so far, because while G2 have picked into this one, it's the map of their selection. GX, we know that they're a very competent team on this map. They have a brilliant record on it as a whole. 10 wins, or 11 wins I should say now. Only one loss. That was the defeat to G2 that we saw over the stages that they've played in the last year or so. However, if they end up winning this, you then go to split and the record just gets that much better. So it feels like a requirement if G2 are to keep themselves in the series as things stand.
It's been a while since we've been in a position like this where G2, I feel as if they're almost on the back foot. New map to bounce back onto, one which the record, especially against GX, looks favourable. As they make their way through the A site, GX are already in position to fight back against the push.
It's just one player back site though, which will be Ness. Smurfette not yet walking out onto the rafter. Finally, she does make her place in the madness, and it's 2 kills volleyed out of the Ghost. Ever following up with more of her own. And so the site locked down as far as GX are concerned. Mimi gets away with 1, but she needs 3 more. It's another clutch that she finds herself in. Pretty damn good with a classic, as we know. First headshot is a decent start, but the rest is just far too much to amount to. So GX, that's now 11 in a row across the last 2 maps.
Hey, it's incredible. Well played from them. Another defensive round to add to their acumen in a row. And not only that, with that pistol round starting, you're looking at going even further, right? G2 only able to get 2 kills on that last round. And again, we talk about defensive protocols. GX have it nailed down to a T.
We We saw them tested to their very limits yesterday in that series against SK Nebula. This one was the decider, and while we're in yet another third map, it's placed right in the middle of this series this time. That one 13-11, of course. Sarah walking around the side. Ghost, double headshot, couple of players taking a lot of damage. Eventually finding that second kill as the rest of GX are in on the act as well. Very clean double up, but little investment made at the same time. A couple of ghosts in the hands of those players means that maybe there's a chance to actually put some more money into this round, and that's looking like what we're going to get with a couple of Vandals.
Bonus round looking pretty dangerous, and again GX just so quick to support each other and play as a team. There's not much we can look into it, but in terms of how you were feeling after the first couple of rounds, GX must be feeling confident.
G2 hadn't shown much of their attack side when the teams played against each other last because they started on the defense. GX lost 10 of those. One thing that is good about the comp here, of course, for them, it is the signature ability of Amy. Again, those salvos. You can deny the orb getting taken early on towards A, which is something GX do very frequently to build in towards ults, such as the Thrash, which you can see prioritize on Ever. But they've saved it for the execute instead, and it's backside control they'll take away.
Just missing out on the time, and Smurfette players are trying to assault their way on. Trade's going either way. Next though goes one better. Make that 3. Okay. G2 stopped in their tracks for the time being.
And while this is happening, Nami is just building that toxin right the way back up. Reveal onto Nello is going to keep her held at arm's length. As soon as G2 want to commit to this site again, there's all that utility to come back through.
Revealing area.
So they want to try and walk back, look elsewhere. I mean, that's what you would think. Mimi just had an eye on maybe a flank coming through from GX, but they stay stalwart in their positions. Why should they move? Plays that 4. Smurfette, probably the only one within touching distance of an easy kill.
Smurfette is never an easy kill though, Cairo. We know that to be true. 9 points of health could make a difference now if Mimi can find Ness, but she's the bastion of the A site. Nothing getting past her on the bonus round. As strong as it looked coming in, it is a strong result that we get.
Yeah, what now, 13 rounds in a row from last map into this one. Ness finding 4 of her own there, and that bonus round just makes everything feel that bit easier on the defense. The attack, having the economy almost denied, right? It's been all kills, no spike plant going down. GX are suffocating G2's attack at the minute.
Slight bit of concern about this round though, at least in terms of the setup, because A is held pretty open. G2 get into post, that's where they're always going to look pretty strong with this Tahoe composition. But I mean, you think back to the map that we've just seen, they weren't getting into post. Like, GX not giving them the time of day. And with the reveal here, it's Mimi elsewhere having to juggle the angles, buy some time, which is going to look pretty good here for G2. You do not want to fumble this round if you're GX. And Sarah has got off to a decent start, but time does continue to tick.
It does. In terms of what can push this over is the utility G2 hold on to, and Sarah continues to be a thorn in the side to this hold. Now that backside, the foundation which G2 were holding on to, has fallen apart. A utility coming through now, trying to stop the players getting onto backside, which G2 cannot do. That spike is under threat, this round is under threat, and Smurfette has collected it. That will be 4 in a row. Another which GX managed to get through quite successfully.
Only 7 seconds separating G2 from a spike detonation. But those Sheriffs couldn't do enough to dissuade the retake coming in. GX holding their nerve. And G2 needing to hold a moment now, a timeout, just to recalibrate themselves. You've got Vanya's ult to play around with. This Yoru was so pivotal in kicking off a lot of those executes, closing the gap. But can you make it land its mark? Can you get the value out of it here?
I mean, that's a question which we have not found the answer to for now 2 maps, or well, 2 halves at least, right? When you think towards that last half of Ascent, we were asking G2 on the attack, right, where does the value come from the ultimates? Where is your win conditions? And to be honest, we didn't see it at all. What are G2 going to do differently? It's a different map entirely, right? Icebox, there's different ways in which you can open up this or either of the sites. I mean, that's now 3 timeouts in a row that G2 have used unanswered by GX because they have been so successful now.
Yeah, we're just going to keep half an eye on the score as it continues to trend upwards. 14 rounds consecutive for GX. Momentum playing a factor.
Placing swarm grenade.
You look at this G2 team and the experience they have as well. It's a word we throw around a lot, but Mimi, Petra, always great mentors at getting everyone up to speed, getting them on the same page. It's just Nello coming in for the first time in a year. It's just one player change that they've made, so that conversation opened up. Is this the best version of the team? Well, if you can't beat a roster like GX, which you've had that track record against before, then I don't know. Don't want to commit to it too early. And neither did G2. Early B long space, still no execution.
And the big thing about this right now is the Sarah's positioning, right? You've got to be looking at the fact that she's so deep in mid and can be so quick to react to what G2 are doing. The thing is, there's that big 1 versus 1 against Mimi to try and win out.
How much longer does Sarah sit around? Vanya has gutted out the B site, and Sarah is so disciplined to hold her nerve with bated breath. Mimi falls, and now the backline is a threat. A threat which they can't contain. Sarah again.
Mate, that's the second time in a row that Sarah has went on the flank and got 2 kills. Tap of the spike, baiting players out, and the utility is spot on from GX.
And they're not even ready to hold the site itself. It's Sarah with 4 kills. Coming up from behind, the flank unprotected, left completely open for her to give the maximum punishment. 5 on the board now for GX. That was the rifle round.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say, man. It's just speechless.
Yeah, I think for me though, like the desk was highlighting it as well about that mid space and how it was going to be manipulated by both sides. How was the defense going to deal with any late lurks? I mean, it's G2 that need to deal with the lurks. They're going to address it this time round by actually pushing it and trying to see if they can upset what GX have been doing for the past couple of rounds. But in terms of what G2 have done differently, they've at least been able to get that spike down, right? There's a success story there to which to build upon.
For those who thought losing to straight sets against KC was a shock to the system, this could be even more so. 5 times they've played, 4 wins for G2. All of those in the upper bracket, all in playoff stages. And as GX have begun to have a look into round number 6. Not all too much spotted on A, but G2 starting to give away a couple of clues as they've signposted their authority here.
Smurfette wants teed up. Yeah, they want to go. Smurfette, though, finds Vanya. That could be a tell, because that's the duelist. Sarah continues to fight in mid, and this time only able to find 1. That was Petra. That was the Omen.
It's a pretty telling duel as well, because the fact that Sarah's even able to reset the gun and find that one without just going down. G2 are looking shaken right now. They need to get 1 on the board. The lockdown to take away the A site, or the B site, sorry, and the deep site control currently being held onto by Nami is huge. She doesn't have a molly to deny this, neither does Eva. They can at least look to try and get the spike down, but the Hunter's Fury's bought all of the time. There's barely any left.
Well, Thrash is coming straight back in. GX so quick to try and flood back through. They should know that G2 are forced all the way back towards long, but Ness's shot is spot on, denies the Viper's pit, and well, the Wingman, he's also been denied. It's unfortunate, and GX are stunted in terms of trying to get on that spike, and Ava has done so well, and G2 haven't. It's going to be 6 in a row, 16 including the 10 that came from the defensive half, and the last map. Unbelievable stuff from GX, so quick on the mark, and it feels as if they're reading out of G2's playbook.
Back-to-back defender-sided dominance, and it started with that shaky duel in mid to the unforgivable timing on Nello. So unfortunate. They look rattled right now, Cairo, a shell of their former selves. And with all the ults thrown in from both sides, the GX winning that round is so huge. You look at this team and the changes they would have made coming in. I mean, it was literally just a quick role swap, putting Ever on the Gecko and getting Ness back on the comfort of this Sova. GX playing with the same setup for over a year now.
Yeah.
But as I said before, comfortability doesn't matter if you're just that fundamentally good and everyone's performing.
Exactly the case.
Locating targets.
Again though, look at GX and look at how they're wanting to play the map already on the backlines, and Sarah isn't all by herself. Nami also here. Oh, and it's a stinger at long range.
Dude, but it's happened again. It's like, oh, I was gonna say, how are you letting GX get away with this? Smurfette has called in extra backup artillery. It's gonna be the finger gun that comes out. And actually, Petra has to use her from the shadows to bail from the situation, get on B, and let that one wear thin.
The only thing to note here though, this isn't GX in a winning position. Sure, they've got a player to the good, but G2 are looking towards Snowman, pushing it further. Nice ideas, but it's been completely denied by Smurfette and Ness as well, who combine to make it 7. A guaranteed advantage on the next half as G2 are struggling to even get one round.
Oh, this is just a sight to behold, and the question is, do G2 even maybe want to put a second timeout on this and stop the rot? Because from the bootcamp perspective that you're on right now, if you're G2, that's where you're able to get those emotions in check, give each other that kind of support that you need, because even the Angels are looking so shaky. I mean, how many 1v1s are we seeing that they're unable to win? It's so uncharacteristic of this team. And sure, you can have an off map, but then you go into GX's pickup next. This is not the place that you want to lose at all. This is the biggest map so far in the series, as I said.
It's been a long time since we've seen G2 in a position like this. A long time. I think last time you could probably say like 2023 stage 3. I know that the analyst desk will be happy to correct me. A long time away from that just yet, before we can count G2 out. As we look towards the A site once more. I think that was both flashes used by the Euro as well, sorry, only one.
GX have been pretty reactive in their calling so far. With Smurfette on the Neon, you can get her in position pretty quick, and she likes to initiate these engagements. Again, preferring that rifle over the operator. Look at the money that GX have left over in this position, where G2 are scrapping for every last credit. On the corner. Fast lane to get out if she needs, but fully committed to this angle. I mean, winning out the duel as well.
You do not doubt her for a second. And that's another stop to this push. The mid space, though, has been won out by Nello, and that lockdown immediately put down. It's going to buy him more space, and let's think about this rotation. Time is going to be really low in terms of whether they can get that spike down, and Sarah's sent it down mid. The spike's on the ground. It's got all cold on Icebox. It's another round which GX will win.
G2 still haven't thawed out from bloody Ascent. This is 18 rounds in a row which GX have won. I spoke about momentum with you coming into this, but
yeah,
I don't think anyone could have foreseen this. I like that you brought up the history there a little bit. Maybe time is truly cyclical. That's the last time that G2 were absent from a Stage 1 Grand Final, being Nello's first ever title in Game Changers with 10-star. It was the same event that Ever and BBL Queens knocked out the Originals, which then went on to sign for the organization that we see on our screens now, trailing by 8 rounds. This is just ridiculous. I said coming in that things feel a little bit different today, but this could very quickly get out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing though, right? You say things feel different, but like, I don't think they felt this different. This is just something completely, entirely different. I mean, G2 might be stunned, but I think the whole of EMEA and Valorant, the Valorant community as a whole, will be stunned at this if it continues on. Got to remember, it is only map 3. It will put GX surely on series point, but there's still a long way to go.
And it's not done yet in terms of this first half. If GX can turn around a 9-3 on Ascent, absolutely no reason why G2 can't do the same for themselves, but you've got to start building yourself some kind of a platform, a raft, to get over what has been a very bumpy course through the center of this series.
I mean, you say build a raft. Someone from G2 needs to answer the SOS call first. Because right now, it hasn't looked good whatsoever. And again, we look towards mid, look towards Sarah, and finds another one. She has been absolutely lights out.
She has completely dominated the last time we saw her on this map, on the Sentinel, growing in character. You see it from the interviews as well, the confidence that she now holds onto after making her first foray into a main event with a team that she's now put into the sword. Into the site they go. It's a laboured spray from Ness, which gave half a chance, but it is snatched right back. Sarah to close yet again. G2's new kid on the block is GX's superstar, which has sent them 9 rounds clear inside this first half.
Yeah, the thing for me is we're expecting G2 to lose that round because of the buy, right? The sheriffs, etc. that were put forward. It's the next 3 that I'm going to put importance on, and here it is. That is the second timeout used of this map. G2 putting full importance on these last 3 rounds. And do you know what? I don't hate this, Hazza, because I'll say this. You think towards the last time that Icebox was played, where did G2 win most of the rounds? It was on the defense.
That is very true. Double digits as well, important to mention. On that half, 10-2. A lot of that coming through Vanya with a scoped weapon in her hands, stopping a lot of the rounds before they even got started. If you were going to focus on anything as GX, that's where you would look. But right now, a case in point, you say it, G2 need to put something up on this first half, because if you go in bone dry, 0 rounds, a donut hanging over your head, then even then, that kind of dominance still will not be enough. And talk about getting like an operator up, for God's sake. The 10 kills Vanya posted with that weapon last time. How are you going to build up the economy in the first place? It feels doomed right now, but this would be the round. You've got the Armageddon and the Yoru ult, something that they were without on Ascent, to combine 2 and 2 together. Can they tie up these loose ends and give us something to hang on to for G2?
Dimensional Drift sent in. See what they can find. That full site completely clear. GX so happy to play retake as they have done on so many rounds before. The forces combine once again, but Smurfette sneaks out into back sight, and for the first time it feels as if G2 are in prime spot to get this round over the line.
Oh, hang on though, that's Kitchen cleared out fully. Mop and Bucket swept to the floor. Now 3 on 3. Amy does still have the Armageddon and the salvos coming into post. Tools to stop GX getting back in, but they've already started to reclaim screens.
It's getting worrying. 3 versus 1 essentially. They're looking to burn Mimi on site. Seeing how much value she can get for her position, and she's locked round perfectly. Just on this, and gets Nami as well. G2 finally in a spot to try and win a round, which they do. It's the first one on the board. They need all remaining to get this lifeline.
Big moment, Mimi. Captain standing up and being counted when it was needed. Couple of ults thrown in by GX to no real effect, especially that pit towards the end there. And they keep the Armageddon as well. Late win condition that can be used in following rounds. Amy has nowhere near had a game for it as she did last time out against GX. It's been a different story, but look, 2 more rounds and that could turn the tide.
Not only that, Lockdown's almost back online as well. You've got to be thinking about that. Smurfette, though, has provided something different. Up towards the nest she goes. She can't quite find the pick, and G2 can't capitalise on Smurfette being out of position.
It's the first time we've really seen her start to get aggressive as she likes to do towards Pipes on the A hold as well. Drone perhaps incentivizing a little bit more of that play. Brilliant movement from Amy in the stealth drone. Does suppress 2 players. In comes the Armageddon. They have to try and fight forward towards the maze here. TPing behind it all is Vanya. But where are the rest of the forces? Each one of them sent to the Forever Box. Packed up in the graveyard. Mimi 2 more impactful kills to just keep them hanging off the olive branch. But it's slipping away yet again. GX's turn to put double digits up defender's side is another 1v3 away, which Nami can nail on right now.
I think as well, right, GX do so well to hold on to the site, but the thing that I've loved time and time again is how GX are highlighting mid and this flank is a real issue for G2. In that last round, Sarah noted exactly where Nello was and was hiding out, and Nami moved into position, moving in as a pincer and collecting that late flank and potential win condition for G2. Looking at this round though, and looking at what can be used as a win condition, it would be that lockdown that Mimi has in pocket.
While we have a moment, even just the balance between fighting in front of the Viper wall and then throwing utility, like the reveal from Ness behind it, has been fantastic. Focus on mid this time. Got it bang on. Smurfette sent from the angle, but here comes the overdrive. And here comes Sarah again!
Oh man, she's just unbelievable at the minute. It seems like nobody can stop her. Mimi, on the other hand, though, is all the way through A, all on her own. Look at the position she's in. Has to try and get by Nami first, and she won't even be able to do that. It is 11 from GX.
Switching sides.
So it means that, at the very least, coming out of the opening 12, G2 have 1 to work with, but they've been saved by the bell more than anything else. That is all that separates them from a complete embarrassment. A little break now for them to work with, but so much to be done in this second half. It's a game of survival now for G2. Round after round, GX hunted them down like lambs to the slaughter from the defenders' side of Icebox. A position which they've been able to put up double digits themselves. We saw it last time around, but even then, you are asking everything of this G2 team to respond right now, and that begins with a pistol and could very much end in the same fashion.
I mean, that's it. But with that being said, the confidence G2 fans can take is that G2 have showed dominant defensive sides, especially on Icebox and especially against GX.
Early aggression from Vanya outside A. TP's away, that's information back to GX, who are doing some digging of their own. Drone sweeps around the side. Yet to spot out Nami. That's the Dizzy thrown away. A tool which Eva will not have access to as they're moving closer and closer to the B site.
Everybody's basically here, right? Apart from the Tejo of EMEA.
So
this is going to be a brawl. Powder
so slow from GX.
There they are. Spike planted.
Spike going down. Now finding themselves in a post-plant GX. 5 versus 5. No second layer for G2. Straight into the retake. Same site as they did on the last time out. And they find the success on this occasion. It started off well. The Ness has responded in kind. 1 kill back. Shera shut down on the lurk. Spam through the poison.
What?
Oh my god! Emma! That is unbelievable. She led the Queens to a win against G2 the last time we saw them in a lower bracket. And now she wants to take the crown right off their head.
That is unbelievable. Absolutely sensational stuff coming through from Eva. What more could you ask for? Hitting 12, putting G2 on the back foot, and the worst thing about it, Hazza, is that economy doesn't have the extra money coming through from a spike plant. They have dregs of a buy, Stingers, a Marshall, and a couple of Sheriffs. What can you really do here?
Vanya wants to try and be the protagonist. 60% of her kills were with a sniper before, but it's down to a Stinger this time. Flash in the face, but Smurfette unperturbed by the situation. Ness still just covering jail. And amongst all of that, G2 invested the majority of their utility to no real effect. Some tag damage on the other side of the map from Nello. The regen shield will give her a helping hand, but not for long enough as B is wide open.
It's wide open, but that Viper wall cannot... Oh, sorry, it's not the wrong Viper wall. Nello get caught out. It's the Smurfette that get caught through, right? So you've got to be thinking about these next couple of fights and the fact that Nami's so isolated, but at the same time, what else can you say? GX and Prime Spot to convert this map.
Humiliation on the G2 horizon at their homestead. Icebox repurposed. We know GX have been good here before. This is more than just great. This is unbelievable. 13-1. I cannot believe my eyes. Don't scratch yours if you're watching at home. This has just really happened. And coming into the 4th map of this series, it's the underdogs with a chance to go all the way to the grand final.
A stunning icebox. I mean, you said it perfectly. Yet to thaw out G2 and a big map to test exactly the mettle of this roster, right? A team that's been tested time and time again. The new addition of Nello. I mean, Hazza, right now, it feels as if GX have just stepped up coming into these last couple of games when it's needed. Everything clicking into place. One more map is all that is needed for GX to finish out this best of 5 and send themselves to a grand final.
Yeah, no prizes for guessing which round in the replay package that G2 celebration was from. But nice to see that they're able to keep the energy high at the very least. I think that's so important right now, to keep your head screwed on as the true professionals that they are. The multiple titles that they have. 8 in EMEA. Unable to add a 9th in another opening stage if things carry on the way that they have. Split is where we go next, and for GX, while it is their map pick, only a couple of rounds decided it for them last time. There is everything on the line here if you're G2. They must respond. The question is, can they? We'll find out after the break.